Hello, my name is Lisa, and I want to share a story that completely changed my life. It all started 2 years ago when I met Daniel. He was charming, kind, and had this magnetic presence that made it impossible not to like him. From the first moment, I felt something special, as if we were meant to be together. Daniel was everything I had ever wanted in a man: attentive, affectionate, and always making me feel like I was the most important person in the world. We had so much fun together. Dinners, weekend trips, late night talks, everything felt perfect. He always said things like, "Lisa, you are the woman of my dreams. I can't wait to build a life with you." And I believed every word. Months passed and our relationship became stronger. He introduced me to his colleagues, took me to fancy restaurants, and always made sure I felt loved. Of course, I noticed that he rarely talked about his family or past relationships, but I didn't think much of it. Some people are just private, right? Then one evening, under the warm glow of candlelight at my favorite Italian restaurant, he asked me to marry him. My heart raced. Was this real? Was I really about to get my happily ever after? Tears filled my eyes as I nodded, unable to find the words. He smiled, placed the ring on my finger, and whispered, "I promise to love you forever." It was the happiest moment of my life. From that night on, we started planning our future together, our dream wedding, the places we wanted to visit, and even the house we would buy someday. I had never felt so sure about anything in my life. Little did I know, my perfect love story was about to turn into a nightmare. The day of our wedding was magical. It was a small, intimate ceremony, just the way I had always dreamed. Close friends, a few family members, and the man I thought was my soulmate. I walked down the aisle, heart pounding, unable to believe that I was about to start the rest of my life with Daniel. His vows were beautiful. He held my hands and said, "Lisa, you are my everything. I promise to love and protect you forever." In that moment, there wasn't a single doubt in my mind. This was real. This was love. Our honeymoon was just as perfect. We spent a week in a beautiful beach resort, waking up to sunrises over the ocean and falling asleep to the sound of the waves. He was affectionate, caring, and made me feel like the luckiest woman in the world. But then things slowly started to change. At first, it was small things, little excuses, unexpected work calls at night, business trips that seemed to come out of nowhere. I would wake up in the middle of the night, reach for him, and realize he wasn't there. When I asked, he always had a perfectly reasonable explanation. "It was an urgent client meeting, love. You know how my job is." "Sorry, babe. I didn't want to wake you up when I got home late." "You worry too much, Lisa. Trust me." I wanted to trust him. I really did. But something in my gut told me that something wasn't right. One evening, I heard his phone vibrate while he was in the shower. Normally, I wouldn't check, but something told me to look. The message was from an unknown number. "I miss you. When can we see each other again?" My heart stopped. I stared at the screen, my hands shaking. My first instinct was to confront him right away. But then I hesitated. What if there was an explanation? What if I was overreacting? So I put the phone down, pretending I had seen nothing. But from that moment on, I knew something was wrong, and I was going to find out the truth. The message haunted me for days. I wanted to believe Daniel, to trust that it was nothing. But deep down, I knew I couldn't ignore it. So I started paying closer attention. He became more distant, more secretive. He started spending more nights away, always with the same excuse: work trips, urgent meetings, last-minute business dinners. At first, I forced myself to accept it. But soon, the doubt became unbearable. Then, one afternoon, while he was away on yet another business trip, I decided to clean the house. As I organized his office, my hands brushed against a stack of papers in the bottom drawer. Something caught my eye: a marriage certificate. At first, my brain refused to process what I was seeing. The name on the certificate was Daniel's, but the bride's name wasn't mine. I felt the blood drain from my face. What was this? Was it an old document? A past marriage? Something he had forgotten to tell me? I tried to calm myself down, but my heart was pounding in my chest. I grabbed my phone and searched for the woman's name, and there she was. A beautiful brunette with soft eyes and a warm smile. But what shocked me wasn't just her face, it was her most recent photo, a picture of her and Daniel together last weekend. My breath caught in my throat. I clicked on her profile, scrolling frantically. There were dozens of pictures of them, holding hands, laughing, celebrating anniversaries. I felt like I was going to be sick. This wasn't an ex-wife. This wasn't some forgotten past. Daniel was still married. I dropped the phone, my hands trembling. Everything inside me screamed to call him, to demand answers. But I wasn't thinking clearly. My world had just collapsed. The man I loved, the man I married, was living a double life, and I had no idea what to do next. I sat on the couch, staring at the marriage certificate, my phone still open to the woman's profile. My mind was racing. How long had this been going on? Had I really been so blind? I felt a mix of rage, heartbreak, and disbelief. The man who promised to love me, to spend his life with me, was already committed to someone else. And I was nothing more than his secret. I didn't want to wait. I needed answers. That evening, when Daniel came home, I was sitting at the dining table, the marriage certificate placed in front of me. My hands were steady, but my heart was beating out of my chest. He walked in with his usual charming smile, loosening his tie. "Hey, love. I missed you." I didn't smile back. I simply pushed the paper toward him and asked, "Who is she?" The change in his face was immediate. His smile disappeared. His eyes widened. His body stiffened. He opened his mouth, but no words came out. Silence. I waited, my fingers gripping the edge of the table. "Say something. Anything." Finally, he exhaled sharply, running a hand through his hair. "Lisa, I can explain." "Explain?" My voice was shaking, but I refused to let my emotions take over. "You're already married, Daniel. How do you explain that?" He sighed, closing his eyes for a second, as if searching for the right words. "It's complicated," he finally muttered. I let out a bitter laugh. Complicated. The word felt like poison in my mouth. You lied to me every single day. Our entire relationship, our marriage, was a lie. Daniel shook his head. "No, Lisa, it wasn't a lie. I love you. I really do." I felt my stomach turn. How dare he say that? Then why are you still with her? I demanded. "Why did you marry me if you were already married?" He hesitated. That hesitation told me everything I needed to know. "I was going to leave her," he finally said, voice low. I needed time." I let out a sharp breath, blinking back tears. Time for what? To keep deceiving me? To play the role of the perfect husband while keeping another life hidden? I shook my head. "You don't love me, Daniel. You love control. You love having two women who adore you, who trust you." My voice broke, but I forced myself to keep speaking. "You are nothing but a liar." He reached for my hand, but I pulled away, standing up. I was done. I wouldn't be his fool anymore. I stood there, my breath uneven, my heart shattered. The man I loved, the man I trusted with my life, had betrayed me in the worst possible way, and yet he still had the nerve to beg me to stay. "Lisa, please, let's talk about this," Daniel pleaded, stepping closer. I shook my head, taking a step back. I was done listening to lies. "Talk? About what?" My voice cracked, but I forced myself to stay strong. "You made a choice, Daniel. You chose to deceive me, to lie to me every single day. Do you think I can ever trust you again?" He looked desperate, as if he truly believed he could fix this. I was going to tell you, I didn't know how, he muttered. I let out a bitter laugh. Oh, so you were just waiting for the right moment to mention that you already have a wife? He didn't respond, because we both knew the truth. He was never going to tell me. He was going to keep me in the dark for as long as he could. I felt something shift inside me, a moment of clarity. I wasn't going to be the woman who stayed, who accepted lies, who begged for respect. I took a deep breath. I'm leaving. His eyes widened. Lisa, wait. We can fix this. I love you. No, you don't. My voice was firm now. You don't lie to the people you love. I walked to the bedroom, grabbed a suitcase, and started packing. My hands were shaking, but I didn't stop. Daniel kept talking, kept trying to convince me to stay, but I blocked out his words. I was choosing myself. That night, I left without looking back, and for the first time in a long time, I felt free. I drove aimlessly for hours, my mind racing, my heart still pounding. How did I not see the signs? How could I have been so blind? But the truth was, I wasn't blind. I was in love. And love makes you believe in people, even when they don't deserve it. I checked into a small hotel that night, staring at the ceiling, feeling numb. The weight of everything hit me all at once. The betrayal, the lies, the fact that the life I had planned was never real to begin with. But as much as it hurt, there was a part of me that felt something new. Something I hadn't felt in a long time. Relief. I didn't have to wonder anymore. I didn't have to second guess his excuses or pretend everything was okay. I was free from the lies. The next morning, I woke up with a sense of clarity. I picked up my phone, my hand steady, and made a decision. I found her number, his wife. For a moment, I hesitated. Was this my place? Did she deserve to know? Then I thought about myself. How long had I lived in a lie? She deserved the truth, just like I did. The phone rang twice before she answered. Hello? I took a deep breath. Hi. My name is Lisa. I think we need to talk about Daniel. Silence, then a sharp inhale. And just like that, I knew she already suspected something. We spoke for over an hour. She was just like me, hopeful, trusting, blind to the man she thought she knew. And when I hung up the phone, I realized I wasn't alone in this pain. But unlike her, I had a choice. I wasn't going to let this define me. I wasn't going to let a liar steal my future. So I packed my bags, walked out of that hotel room, and stepped into the unknown. I didn't know where I was going yet, but I knew one thing for sure. I was never looking back. If you've watched this far, leave a like and subscribe to follow more.